We're going to keep moving, and we're going to welcome the wonderful Emily Primavera, who's with the South Australian Tourism Commission. And Emily's going to take us through how she's helped develop measurement techniques from measuring leads to creating custom engagement score to optimize and customize media and on-site experience. Really looking forward to hearing from this one. I'll let you take over, Emily.
Thanks, Gay. Morning all, from sunny South Australia. So my name is Emily and I'm Digital Marketing Optimisation Manager for the South Australian Tourism Commission. So yes, tourism, holidays, it's something we're hoping we'll do a little bit more of soon. So hopefully this morning will be a bit of holiday inspiration for you at the very least. And just to give you a little bit of background on the South Australian Tourism Commission and what we do. So our main purpose is to inspire and encourage people to travel in South Australia, and ultimately with that, increase expenditure and visitation in South Australia. So the challenge that we have though is that we don't own anything, we don't own any products, and we don't sell any airline tickets or anything ourselves. So it does make our activity harder to measure and of course harder to see success, particularly with the oncoming demise of cookies, of course. So to take us back to consider, how we actually look at what we're trying to achieve and how we look at our measuring our success, we consider Inspire, Plan, Book as a focus of the tourism path to purchase. And we also have to look at, if we have to understand the tourism path to purchase, but again, we don't sell anything, how do we actually understand those triggers? So looking at all of the tourism products that we have on our site and a tourism business, people that are clicking out, to book on one of those products or clicking out to engage with that business is for us considered a lead. So we focus on optimizing all of our paid and on-site and organic activity to focus on that. And we've really seen a success there. So since we started tracking leads back in financial year 2016-17, we saw in a whole year 87,000 leads to tourism businesses. Now, in the last financial year, we actually saw that we generated over 3 million leads to tourism businesses in the full year. So that's a massive result. But what's really important for us is to understand that these leads actually do correlate to tourism expenditure. So we know that when we're optimizing our media and optimizing all of our on-site activity to generating leads to tourism businesses, that actually does correlate to people spending money and booking holidays and traveling across our tourism regions in South Australia. But then we needed more. We needed to develop a way of understanding how people are actually planning their trip. So we created a custom engagement score that takes visitors through, helps us understand a visitor's journey through our site and measures the level at which people are engaged on site by using custom, a custom weighting across different elements on our site to understand a full engagement. And from there, we look at, okay, we'll map that against our digital media activity and understand that path to purchase, and we optimize towards these metrics. But again, because we don't sell anything, we needed to develop some key brand pillars. So things that we could focus on, or unique selling points of South Australia as a destination, reasons that you would travel. And for us, things that we could use to actually understand what people were interested in and help pull people through that tourism path to purchase or that consumer journey. So from there, we built some interest-based segments that were based on engagement on content on our site. And then we overlaid these with behavioural segments. So we could get an understanding of, a behavioural audience that looks at not only the interest that someone has in South Australia, so they're interested in wildlife, but then the triggers that they are taking that move them through that funnel from Inspire, Plan, Book, and how we can understand that so we can use that information in our marketing activity. So then going back to that tourism path to purchase, we looked at how we could continue to address the consumer on site, keep pulling them through that path to purchase by working with our agency to build a consumer journey map. So again, we looked at, okay, what was our audience with the largest number, but the highest opportunity, and that they weren't as engaged in what they could be. We all know that wildlife content gets people interested, and everyone loves a cute, cuddly koala video, but those people weren't actually engaging on site, and they weren't then to us planning, so engaging on site and also generating leads that would mean that they had a high propensity to actually travel in South Australia and book a trip. So we built a consumer journey that looked at pulling people through that tourism path to purchase from that top, mid to bottom funnel, and really addressing them with personalized creative and content on site, and also with paid media that surrounded that. So we built this across our top, mid and bottom funnel. And in the top funnel, we optimized and customized content on site to bring that content above the fold so that people were really, I guess, encouraged to engage further, and served inspirational content that would get them to continue interest in South Australia and start thinking about planning their trip. So nudging them with call to actions in that inspirational content to get them into that planning or that mid-funnel stage. Then looking at those that were in the mid-funnel audience, we were able to serve them itinerary-based content. So content that really helped give them more information, encouraged them to download brochures and guides, and help them to start actually planning their trip, giving them really useful information. And then to those in the bottom funnel, we encouraged driving action and getting people to start booking. So serving all of those products that fit within, again, those brand pillars that I was talking about earlier. So people are interested in wildlife, we're serving them wildlife tourism experiences that they can book, accommodation in areas that are relevant to those. And again, using really hard CTAs to encourage them to book their activity. Because again, we know that booking, or that the booking trigger that we see, so a lead, does actually correlate with booking and tourism expenditure in South Australia. We also then served custom creative all around the journey to pull people through the funnel, so through from top, mid and bottom, with prospecting and retargeting across multiple channels. So despite running this through a period where we had on and off border closures, lockdowns, etc., we actually saw that our engagement on site, so that engagement score, increased by 13% just in the mid funnel. And then in the bottom of the funnel, not only were we driving leads, but we were also seeing engagement. So people engaging in all that content across our site increased by 23%. And we also saw then in the bottom of funnel that 30% increase in leads to those tourism businesses. So people actually starting to book trips. And we generated over 13,000 leads. So people that were already interested in that wildlife content, so they were pre-qualified, generating leads out to tourism businesses that we then know has a really high propensity to actually generate tourism expenditure. So from here, we look at scaling. So scaling personalization is obviously something that we talk a lot about. And we know South Australia is so well known for good food and wine. So in fact, best in Australia, which is great. But how do we actually, again, translate that, being known for really good food and wine into not just buying a bottle of Barossa Red from Dan Murphy's, but actually visiting South Australia? So again, bringing people into a journey and helping them to plan their trip, pushing them through and encouraging them to generate leads, which we know then correlates with bookings. So again, we created a little more complex journey this time, again, with our prospecting, remarketing, organic and paid activity all around it to push and nudge people through the journey, but across lots of different content on southaustralia.com and across the full site, with some more travel partner link outs, encouraging people to book throughout. And so then, we pull that through again into that Feel, Think and Do, or the Inspire Plan book, right across southaustralia.com with all of the media mapped out, customized at each stage, using those audiences that were the Feel, Think and Do, or the Inspire Plan book, food and drink audiences. And this time we've pulled in not only hard book now CTAs on site onto our tourism products, but also integrated with travel partners and airlines to encourage people to book now, because again, we know all of those leads are actually really correlated with people booking a trip to South Australia. We're also trying to increase not only leads, so leads that then will generate that booking, but also encourage them, the leads to grow in breadth. So increasing the number of products that people are generating leads with. And so through all of this, we've seen that our website visits have increased, so in the last financial year, by over 73%. And if you think back to that, Gina talking about how leads then correlate with visitation and tourism expenditure, we've seen that we had an over 220% increase in actual leads to tourism businesses and travel partners like airlines. And again, with all of this on-site activity, personalization activity, we increased our lead generation rate by 86%. So that's massive. So again, thinking about the future, thinking about where everything's heading in the next couple of years, we are looking at continuing to scale this activity and integrating our media and on-site activity even further. But obviously looking at how we build authenticated data into this and apply that with some new functionality that we're bringing on site, like our chatbot and our trip planner, which will allow us to help keep measuring engagement on site, but also gather authenticated data. And then with that, we can continue to use CRO testing and personalization, but also continue to nudge and drive email sign up, as well as obviously leveraging our contextual and second party audience strategies. So with that, I'll leave you with a little bit of hopefully summer holiday inspirations, Coffin Bay in South Australia. But again, yeah, hope that was useful insight. And again, I think it's finding those key metrics down the bottom of the funnel, but also then looking at how you can use on-site and paid to keep leveraging them through. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Emily. That was very inspiring, and thank you for sharing all the data as well. And I think we're seeing some common themes in terms of making sure people continually optimize. But one thing I did love about your presentation is seeing someone actually monetize animal content, not just going viral. So that was great.